So good morning, everyone. My name is Malia Hill, and a little bit about me. I'm currently attending Waiakea High School this year as a sophomore, and I've participated in History Day since the 6th grade, so I've seen a wide variety of outstanding projects. So I'm extremely honored to have been the recipient of the LWVHC award this year. And after my district competition, I went on to participate in the state competition, and I got first place in the senior exhibit category. So my project was on the 1930 Salt March and in India and how it impacted India's independence as well as the rest of the world. This march was held to express dissatisfaction against the British rule in India, particularly against the Salt Act, which banned the home production of salt, forcing Indian citizens to purchase heavily taxed and imported salt. And because salt was a very important staple to the Indian diet, many were upset with this act. So to protest the act, Mahatma Gandhi planned and led the Salt March, which continued for about a month over the course of 240 miles. And the march amassed substantial global attention and kind of pushed the Indian public towards the move for independence. So this is my board itself to the left, and then on the right is a blown up version of my thesis, as well as my global attention section with features of newspaper clippings and a newsreel screenshot. So in choosing my topic, I chose my topic because I didn't know much about it prior to my research. I was curious about the motives behind a protest for salt and why it was named by Time magazine as one of the most influential protests in an article. So a lot of my choosing, or a lot of the reason behind my choosing my topic was because of curiosity. And thanks to my research, I learned all about the Salt March, including that it gained so much attention that it even appeared on newsreels in American movie theaters at the time, which is the greenish image pictured under my global attention section. I'm not sure if you can see it, but that is a newsreel clip or image. I also learned a lot about the topics of civil disobedience and Mahatma Gandhi's satyagraha or peaceful protest, and that it influenced leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr. with acts such as the Montgomery boycott, so kind of the nonviolence focus of protests. As for the relevance of my topic, the Salt March, put broadly, was an act of civil disobedience. And this is extremely relevant to all those living on Hawaii Island today because we have observed such acts of civil disobedience with, for example, the TMT protests for Mauna Kea. And like the Salt March, the TMT protests had immediate aim, which was to stop the construction of telescopes on Mauna Kea, but may have had a longer-term goal to bring wider attention to Native Hawaiian dissatisfaction. And it can be beneficial to recognize similarities between these two events and similar events in order to compare outcomes and effects to either promote or discourage further action based on how alike circumstances may be. We can also compare this to protests in 2020, such as the Black Lives Matter movement, where civil disobedience was also observed and a similar kind of goal of bringing awareness or attention to an issue was shared. So with that being said, that is all I have. Thank you for listening, and please let me know if you have any questions or comments.
Thank you, Malia. Would anyone like to ask a question?
Oh yeah, I have a question. This is Carolyn. Malia, was it just one march on one day? And how many people were estimated to have participated?
I think, so the march itself was one march, but it continued for about a month, starting on March 12th, 1930, and continuing until about April or the mid-April of 1930. And I believe at first, there was only 89 participating members that were listed, but I believe throughout the march, more people joined, and just observers kind of joined in to walk with Mahatma Gandhi and other listed participants. But there wasn't an exact number because people would join in and then kind of go out once the march or had left their village, because they stopped by a variety of villages, and then they eventually stopped at Dandi, which was a seacoast village, and Mahatma Gandhi picked up salt and said, "With this, I shake the British rule in India."
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you. Is there perhaps one more question? Malia, as a young person, what's something that might help to get young people more involved in the democratic process and in voting?
I think more young people could be encouraged to vote or learn more about civic education by just doing that, learning more about civic education. But I think rather than kind of providing a course or class they may have to take in school, it'd be better to provide more opportunities for them to participate in kind of the voting environment, more realistic to actual elections as opposed to school and club elections. For example, this could be something like having voting booths or filling out a mock voting ballot that is similar to the real one, so we kind of know what we're supposed to be doing when we get the chance to vote. That makes sense.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much, Malia. We're so excited, and thank you again. Your presentation was wonderful, and I can see why you won. And when you said you were a sophomore, I was even more blown away. My goodness. So congratulations again. And we're so glad that we could learn from you and your presentation.
Thank you very much.